Watch this viral clip with me. Can you relate to it? I think most gamers can. You jump on to play a game and just end up frustrated and rage quit. Well, I consider myself a pretty happy gamer, so I've got 5 tips for you to have more fun and feel less triggered, no matter what game you're playing. Disclaimer though, take what I'm about to say with a pinch of salt. These are my suggestions based on what works for me. Tip number 1, manage your expectations. Oftentimes we get frustrated because things aren't playing out the way we want them to. You don't get the map you want, your teammates make mistakes, and sometimes you lose. Everyone does. In fact, most matchmaking algorithms are designed for you to not win every game. So if your emotional state relies on the stars aligning or specifically you winning the game, then you're setting yourself up to get triggered. Instead, when it feels like things aren't going your way, I recommend creating little mini objectives for yourself. For example, in this match of Halo 3, my enemy team is destroying us, and they have a Warthog, so for the rest of the game, the only metric I focus on is to kill their Warthog. I might die 20 times trying, but that's okay, because in my head, killing their Warthog is a little mini game, and if I can do it, I win. So even though we're losing the game, I get to feel like a winner. So avoid being attached to really specific outcomes, like winning. Rather, be flexible and find other reasons to smile, no matter what happens in the game. Tip number 2, play something that matches your mood. If you're exhausted from a long day of work, your girlfriend just broke up with you, and your grandma just died, maybe, just maybe, don't play a hardcore competitive game that requires you to be calm and perform in order to have a good time. Maybe play a single-player game or something more casual that isn't as likely to be triggering if you're already on edge. It doesn't have to be that extreme. If you're starting to sense your own frustration whilst gaming, maybe don't instantly queue for another match. Take a 5-minute leg stretcher to reset, or go play a different game mode or game altogether. Tip number 3, breathe. If you haven't worked it out yet, breathing is a superpower that we all have access to. Being in control of your breath is a literal cheat code to life. I mean, Wim Hof climbed Mount Everest in shorts by managing his breath. And Navy SEALs can be dropped in a war zone and still maintain a resting heart rate. How? Well, there's many factors, but proper breathing is one of them. So there's 2 steps to using breathing to your advantage whilst gaming. First off, pay attention to yourself. You have to be self-aware enough to notice you're getting a bit agitated. And then box breathing, meaning breathe slowly into your belly. Not into your chest like most people do. No, deep into your belly. Like imagine there's an invisible string out of your belly button and that's being pulled out, like your belly should come out. So inhale for at least 4 seconds and don't let the air out immediately. Hold it for another 4 seconds and then slowly exhale for 4 seconds. And before you repeat with another inhale, you wait a few seconds before as well. That right there is box breathing. I'm telling you, if you actually do this, it's impossible for your anger and frustration to escalate. Most of you watching this right now are men, and there are so many families that are at the mercy of men's anger in the home, and I believe breathing alone can prevent so much suffering, not just in gaming. Tip number 4, stop fighting reality. One of my teachers, Peter Crone, has this quote, "Right now, nothing could be different." And it's so liberating once you really get it. I say it to myself every day at some point. Whether it's about the money in your bank account, you just missed the bus, one of your parents just got diagnosed with something awful, or the shitty teammates you're playing with. Unless you have a time machine, right now, nothing could be different. It's like Byron Katie says, you can argue with reality, but you'll be wrong 100% of the time. So complete acceptance, like being okay with how things are playing out right now, leads to inner calm every time. Which ties perfectly into tip number 5, managing your perspective. If you're having one of those nights of gaming where nothing is fun and you just want to punch the wall, maybe that's a sign for you to do something else. And instead of looking at that as a bad thing, what if you could be grateful that this game right now is presenting you with an opportunity to go work out, do some chores, catch up on that TV show you've been meaning to watch. You can channel your energy towards something else, other than breaking your keyboard.
I try to avoid him. I fucking tried to.
And let's be honest, if your biggest problem in life is that you're losing in a video game, you're having a good day. And if you and your loved ones are healthy, are you really gonna let an unlucky respawn upset you? And if you're blessed and privileged enough to be able to sit down and play a video game, you have it pretty good in the grand scheme of things. When you rationalize the petty things that are upsetting you by zooming out and putting things in perspective, your emotions often neutralize pretty quickly. With all that being said, we're all human, and part of the fun is to care, to be invested. So it's okay to get a little triggered sometimes, but if it's happening consistently and you have no control over it, I recommend you try out some of the tips in this video. Do you have any other tips that helps you maintain composure? Leave a comment, and also like this video if it was helpful.